And now joining us at the State of the Net conference is the Cybersecurity Caucus co-chair, Representative Jim Langevin, Democrat of Rhode Island. Congressman, what was your seminar about today? It seemed pretty lively.
Well, glad to be here at State of the Net, and I had a chance to have a kind of a fireside chat with Corey from Rapid 7, and we talked about different challenges and strengthening the internet, making it more secure, creating a healthier ecosystem, if you will. And the challenges are great, but it's an opportunity really to make a difference in making the country safer. And so I was talking more from the government perspective. Corey was talking more from the private sector perspective, but it was a very healthy discussion, I thought.
So what has Congress in the past couple of years achieved when it comes to cybersecurity?
So, certainly the awareness has been raised among members and among the public, but sadly, that's because of the high-profile hacks or attacks that have happened not only here in the United States, but around the world. And there are no shortage of challenges or signs of those vulnerabilities going away anytime soon. So, one of the major bills that Congress passed is an information sharing bill to make it easier for the government to share threat information with the private sector, and the private sector to share threat information. The problem is it hasn't reached its full potential, and there's not enough participation really on the private sector side yet to really make a difference in that area. But it's I'd say the major bill that's made its way through Congress. But we need to do more, and I'm hoping collectively we can in this coming session.
What kind of safeguards are put in that, though, to protect people's privacy?
Robust cyber protection, data privacy protections in the CISA law. That was a primary concern and driver going forward, and the bill would not have made its way through Congress without those strong privacy provisions in the information sharing bill. So I'm confident that we've achieved the right balance. A lot of the privacy groups had a great deal of input into the development of the CISA legislation, but it's going to be an ongoing concern. What I think people would need to be mindful of right now is that their data is compromised in many different ways out there in the private sector. This was about information sharing on threat signatures only, and not about sharing any private information. And we've made put strong protections to make sure that that's all that we share. In the private sector right now, you've got these major companies that have vast amounts of your personal and private information, and that's where a lot of the high-profile hacks have occurred, and personal private information has been compromised. So I have a national data breach notification bill that I've introduced. I worked on it with the previous administration, and it would make sure that anytime customers' data is compromised, that they would be notified within 30 days. Right now, there's 50 different states that have different laws about when customers need to be notified. We've got to do better than that.
You're also chair of the Emerging Threats Subcommittee.
Yes.
Does what you learned there affect your work in the cybersecurity area?
Yeah, sure it does, because the work on my position as the chair of the Intelligence and Emerging Threats on the Armed Services Committee is very much DoD focused and making sure that we're protecting our national security. But a lot of my work over the years has better informed me about what we need to do to better protect the country in cyberspace and from a DoD perspective.
So what frightens you the most, looking ahead, knowing what you know, when it comes to cybersecurity?
Well, there's no shortage of challenges, but as certainly as AI and machine learning and advanced algorithms are more widely used and employed, we have challenges we have to face on the offensive and the defensive side, as well as data integrity, making sure that the AI, that data isn't compromised, and the AI thinks it's looking at something that may not be the case. So, there's no shortages of challenges, but I guess you'd say the thing that worries me the most also is how do we better protect critical infrastructure? because that's where the most damage can be done. You think of the damage that can be done to our electric grid or hospital systems, our banking system. So there are major things that are in place to protect us, but the attack surface is so broad that we need to continue to strengthen the public-private partnership going forward to make sure that we are better protected.
Do you find that this is a little bit more bipartisan than some other issues?
I do. In fact, that's one of the things I talked about here with Corey and the forum today, is that if you're ever going to find strong bipartisanship, come to security issues in general, and certainly cybersecurity is no exception. I have great partners that I work with. Mike McCall, Congressman Republican from Texas, he co-chairs and we co-founded the Cybersecurity Caucus together. Elise Stefanik, who is now my ranking member, she was chair of the Emerging Threats and Capabilities Subcommittee that I now chair. We work very closely together with them and a number of other colleagues. I wish more of my colleagues were into cyber like we are, but the list is growing.
Jim Langevin is the new chair of the Emerging Threats Subcommittee on the Armed Services Committee and co-chair of the Cybersecurity Caucus. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us on the Communicators. We look forward to having you back for a full half hour.
Thank you. Look forward to being back again.